Caring for an adult child with complex needs involves managing a paper trail 3 decades in the making. When you compile every record, the physical volume is an encyclopedia of a single life. This archive holds records from dozens of different specialists. It contains guardianship paperwork, special needs trusts, and every individualized education program, or IEP, from kindergarten through age 22. Standard childhood records eventually fade into the background as a person grows up, but for conditions like severe autism or cerebral palsy, those early files remain relevant, forming the necessary foundation for adult medical care. These scattered folders are more than just old files. They are the active operating manual for a human being. Yet in many households, that manual exists in a fragmented state, stored in boxes and reliant on the parent's memory. At age 18 or 22, the pediatric safety net simply ends. The adult medical system takes over and often treats the individual as a brand new patient, disconnected from their established medical history. Aging parents find themselves re-reciting the same complex history at every new specialist visit, year after year, just to maintain medication regimens that took a decade to finalize. This leads to the challenge of succession, the reality of what happens when the primary caregiver is no longer physically or cognitively able to manage this data. If 30 years of unorganized, highly specific context is suddenly dropped onto a sibling or secondary caregiver during a crisis, the transition is rarely smooth. Without a system to transfer that specific knowledge, the continuity of care is at risk the moment the primary caregiver steps away. Thrive moves those physical records into a centralized digital workspace designed for the unique requirements of special needs care. Thrive restructures siloed records. Decades of labs, hospitalizations, and medication changes are mapped linearly across a single timeline. This timeline anchors a document vault, where cascading, interconnected blocks hold the evidence. Guardianship orders and ABLE accounts are stored directly alongside supported medical events. This structure removes the burden of recall. If a new doctor suggests changing a long-standing medication, the caregiver can immediately point to the historical rationale for that specific prescription. Organizing data by chronological context transforms a static archive into an active tool for medical advocacy. Caregiving requires sharing specific slices of information with different people, from neurologists to day program coordinators. Generate a time-limited link delivering only necessary documents to external providers, an IEP for a therapist, or a medication list for a dentist. Within the family, the hub expands to reveal internal access levels, assigning specific permissions matching their actual role. A sibling who will eventually take over can be brought in gradually. They can observe the daily management of care over several years, rather than trying to learn decades of history in a single weekend. The workspace is bilingual. Notes are automatically translated so multi-generational family members collaborate using the exact same record in the language they understand best. When the time comes for a full transition, primary ownership of the workspace is transferred instantly, keeping the entire history intact and accessible. By making the transfer of care a continuous process rather than a sudden event, the risk of losing vital information during the handover is significantly reduced. This transition moves 3 decades of critical data out of the parent's memory and into a shared, durable framework. Most families already use financial tools, like special needs trusts, to secure their child's future. However, financial resources alone cannot manage a complex seizure protocol or navigate a specific behavioral trigger. If the day-to-day context is lost, the financial trust cannot fulfill its purpose. Thrive serves as a knowledge trust. It secures the intricate details of a person's life and care, making that information as durable as their financial assets. By organizing this legacy, a parent's decades of advocacy continue to protect their child, ensuring that their care remains consistent even when the parent is no longer there to lead it.